Okay, so with HTML, we've had several generations of the HTML markup language. Thus, we have HTML1, HTML 2.0, HTML 3.2, HTML 4.01, and then HTML5, which is the current version of HTML we use for most websites now. And also with most of the current websites we have, they work with the HTML5. So all HTML5 documents have a doc type of HTML. I'll preview that for you to see. Hello. Did you get what I said earlier on about the HTML? Okay, I'll go over it once again. With the HTML, I said there have been several versions of the HTML. You have HTML 1.0, which was the first version which came. Then we moved on to HTML 2.0, HTML 3.2, then we came to HTML 4.01, and finally we have HTML5, which is the current version of HTML we use for most websites now. And now with most websites works with the HTML5 version. So when you look at their source code, you always see that they have a doc type which tells your browser that you are working with the current version of HTML, which is HTML5. I'll show you how you can do that in your code. Can you see my screen? Hello, can you see my screen? Okay. So when you work with VS Code, it makes coding very, very simple. Okay. So the doc type I was talking about, this is the doc type. It tells your browser that you are working with the current version of the HTML. And then with all HTML elements, we have a starting and then a closing tag. So if you take a close look at the codes here, you can see it has an HTML starting tag and then a closing tag, which all HTML elements, this is their starting tag, and then they end with a forward slash. So if you take a look at the HTML, you can see we have a forward slash here, which tells you that the HTML element here ends at this point. Same applies to the header tag. You can see it starts here and then ends here. So when you work with Visual Studio Code, it gives you more highlight on the element you're working with. Let's say HTML. When you're working with the header tag, when you click on header tag, it tells you that, oh, this is where your header tag ends. so that it helps you to structure your codes well. And also with the HTML element, we have, with all HTML documents, you're supposed to have this HTML tag here. It's a constant which tells your browser that you're working with HTML code. And then you have the header tags. Your header tag contains the links you are using your website. Let's say you are working with CSS files, some JavaScript files, you can keep them in your header tag. And then the header tags also contains data about your website. That's the metadata. In most websites, you can have like a description about your website. Maybe your website's a blog website or something. You keep all those details in the header tag using the meta tag. And also we have your title here. Your title here shows on top of your browser. Let's see, you can see this is my first website. So this is what you are going to see on your browser when you go live. Oh. So when you go live, this is what you see. You can see we have the title we just changed here. And also we have the body tag. This is where your main contents are going to be shown on your web browser. So basically your body tag is where most of the part of your website are going to be contained. Let's say your head, your H1, H2, your P tags, your A tags. You are going to put all of them in your body tag. Anything outside the body tag is not going to be displayed on your web browser. So you can try that. Want to try with the H tag. With the H tag, we have from H1 up to H6. So H1 tag, so as I said earlier on, the elements have a starting and then the closing. So with the closing, you can see there's a forward slash, which tells you that that's the ending of that particular element. So H1, you can see this heading 1. You can see heading 1. I can go back to our browser and check that. Can you see my browser? So you can see we have heading 1 here. Let's go back to VS Code. Heading 2. I say heading 2. Let's try up to 6. Heading 3. Oh, sorry. Heading 3. Heading 4. Heading 5. And lastly, heading 6. So we save that and let's go back to our browser. Let me refresh. So you can see we have this, the heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, 5, and then 6. So that's about the heading tags. Use heading tags. Let's say you are creating a blog website. You can use this for writing the heading of your blog post. And also we have the P tag. We use the P tag for writing paragraphs. So let me show you how that also works. So with a P tag, you just write P in Visual Studio Code and then you hit enter or tab. It will automatically do the ending and then the closing for you. So you can see this is a paragraph. Oh. Let's go back to our browser and check that. Refresh. So you can see we have a paragraph. That's the function of the P tag. We use P tag for making paragraphs. And then we also have what we call the anchor tags. The anchor tags are links. They contain links. It's like a hyperlink. Like hyperlinks contain jumps to other websites or other resources or documents. Let's say on a website, you can see a link that when you click on it, it opens a different tab, or within the same tab, it opens a new HTML document for you. So we can try that one too as well. We are going to add a link here so that when you click on it, it will open google.com. Let me get the Google URL. Let's go back to our VS Code. So to work with anchor tags, similarly, just press E. E is for anchor tags, and then hit tab or enter on your keyboard when you're working with VS Code. And then with the href, this way you're going to put the link where you want this link to take the user to. Maybe you can write here Google. So it tells the user that, oh, maybe this link is connected to a URL called Google. Let me refresh. So you can see there's a difference between these elements and then the anchor tag. And then when I hover on it, you can see the mouse pointer changes to a cursor, which means that it's a link. But with the other elements, when I hover on them, they don't do that. It means that this is clickable. Now I haven't connected it to any other link. So it still stands the same. Let me google.com. I have to get the URL. Okay. Now let's go back to our VS Code. So that when the user clicks on the link here, on this link, it will take the person to this address, google.com. And let's go back to our browser. Refresh. So now when the user clicks on this, you see that it opened google.com. That's one function of the anchor tag. And also you can make the link open on a different tab rather than opening in the same tab. But that to use the underscore blank attribute to link the user to a different tab. So without you just say target, you say underscore blank. This means that it will take the user to a different tab rather than opening the link in the same tab. Let me refresh that. So you can see it opened on a different tab rather than the same tab as it did for the previous one. So that's about anchor tags. And then also we have UL and then OL. UL simply means unordered list, and then OL means ordered list. We use them for making lists in our website. Let's say you have a list of food, a list of countries, or a list of games you like. Please, the session will end in 1 minute time. Please use the same link to rejoin. Okay. All right. So when the session goes off, use the same link to rejoin so that you continue from where we stopped. So when we get back, we will start with the unordered list. Okay, so let's move on from where we left off. That's the unordered list and then ordered list. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So we are going to continue from the unordered list and then ordered list. So I said with the unordered list, we use them for making lists. Let's say with your website, you want to have a list of, let's say, countries or foods or links in your website. We use the unordered list or ordered list for that. So I'm going to show you how to use that in your code. Okay, so for unordered list, we use UL, which means unordered list. And then to list the items, we say LI. And then you write the name of what you want. Before that, you can use a heading here. So you can say H4, say my best games. So this will be the title for our list. Maybe football, maybe volleyball, maybe ampy. Let's say Ludo, something like this. So now we have created our list. Let's go back to our browser and refresh. Let me refresh. Sorry, a minute. Okay, sorry for that. So you can see here we have a list of games here. We use the H4 for the title, and then we have the unordered list. With the unordered list, you can see we have them in bullets: football, volleyball, ampy, and then Ludo. And then for ordered lists, let me have a title here. Let's say ordered list. For ordered list, we say OL. And similarly for the UL, we say LI. Let's say my best food. I don't know yours. Fufu. Banku. Can you see this screen? My VS Code.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay. What do I like? Say jollof. Okay, I like gobe. So let me say gobe. All right. Let's go back to our browser. And then refresh. You can see the difference between the unordered and then ordered list. We have them numbered in 1, 2, 3 up to 4, which tells you that we have the list is in a sequential order or something. So you can either choose to use this or this, depending on what you are doing on your website. And also with unordered lists, you can also make them links like the one we did previously here. Let me go back to VS Code. You can make this list a link. Let me cut this. Can you put the A tag here? And then you put the content in here. So between this tag, you can put a link here. So maybe let me use Google. You want to have a link to Google. Then let's change the name to Google. You'll be creating another one for Facebook. So we have a tag. And then you write Facebook. And add Twitter. You'll copy their links and put them later. Oh, Twitter. Instagram. I think that'll be Instagram. Let me get their links and put them. Instagram. Instagram. Facebook. Facebook. Have Twitter. Twitter. Let's make this YouTube. YouTube. Okay. So now we receive that. If you haven't saved any work in your VS Code, you'll see this dot here. The moment you save it, it disappears. Now let's go back to our browser and refresh. Use this. Refresh. So you can see our ordered list have changed to a link. So when I click on Google, you can see it has opened Google. When I go back, when I click on Facebook, it will open Facebook. When I click on Twitter, it will open Twitter. And lastly, for YouTube, it will open YouTube. Yes. So that's the function of the A tag. And then with HTML document elements, you can nest them. When I say nest, it means that it can be contained in other elements. So you can see we have A tag inside an LI tag. This is a nested tag because it is containing other elements within it. So you can make this target underscore blank so that to open a new tab rather than the same tab. Let's go back to the browser. Refresh. So if I click on Google, you can see we have Google now. Click on Facebook, we will have Facebook. Twitter, we will have it. And lastly, for YouTube too, you are going to have it. With links, we have absolute links and then relative links. Without unless I use an image for you to see how it really works. Let me go back to VS Code.
Okay.
With the links, we have absolute links and then relative links. With the absolute
And relatively.
yeah, or you can say absolute URL. I use absolute URL and then external or relative URL.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, let me search for an image. Okay. So to insert an image in your HTML document, you use the img tag. And then with the src here, it means that you write the path or the source of your image. And then with the alt attribute here, it's the name that will be displayed on your browser when your image is not able to load. So let me insert the link of the image so that you know how it works. Let me see. Watch it. Let me get images of watch. Let me get an image of watch it. So that I like this. So I can copy the address of that image and then paste it in the source attribute. Oh, it looks very long. So now I can save that and go back to the browser. I'll refresh. So you can see Wache in our website. I hope you can see that.
Yeah.
Uh, and then linking images like this in your website is not secured because you are getting the link from a different source rather than your working directory. So when you're using a link from other sources, let's say the owner or the user who uploaded that particular image has deleted that image, it means that that image is not going to be showing on your website. And also, most of the links we get online are subject to copyright.
Okay.
So it's not advisable to use links of images from other sources unless you are sure of the source of the image. There's no copyright attached to it. And also, with the alt tag, let's say this is an image of Wachi. This is the name that will be displayed on your browser when the image is not able to show. Let me delete something from this. Go back to the browser. Please, can you see my browser?
Yes, please.
So when I refresh the page, you can see the image didn't load, but we have a message here. This is an image of
This is an
Wachi.
image of Wachi.
So that's how you can use the alt attribute to tell the user that, oh, this was an image, but due to some reasons or change of links, it couldn't display well. And also with the image, you can specify width and height to it. In the IMG tag, you can say width, maybe 400 pixels. You can give it a height of also 400 pixels. Save that, go back to the browser, and then refresh. So you can see that we have increased the height and width of the Wachi image. And the last thing I want to teach you is for today's session is commenting. Commenting is very important in programming, not only for web development, other programming as well. Commenting is very necessary because
Commenting.
yes, commenting. It gives readers or other users or other programmers more information about your code. So let's say your HTML document contains, let's say, 5,000 lines of code, and then you haven't commented any section of it. It will be difficult for other programmers to read through unless they go through the codes line by line to know what each line does. So to comment in VS Code, you just hold Control and then /. So just comment it for you. As I want to comment out this H1 tag, I bring the cursor here and I hold Control and then / to comment it out. Also, when I comment something out, it is not going to be displayed on the browser. It's no longer part of the code. Let me comment 3 out so that I know it's working. Let me go back to the browser. Let me refresh. So you can see 3 of them is out. From H1 to H3, it's out because I've commented it out. Let me duplicate this one. So you can have a comment here saying this is a heading. You can say this is a heading. This is a comment which will tell every programmer or anyone at all who views your code that this particular section or block of code you have here is a heading. You can have another comment here and say this is a paragraph. And say this is a paragraph. So anyone who will take your code will know that, oh, this particular section is about paragraphs.
It's a paragraph.
Yes, so you can have more than one paragraphs in your code. It doesn't matter. You can have 2 billion. It doesn't matter. It all depends on you and what you are working on. You can have more than one paragraph. And similarly, you can do that for the A tags, H4 tags, and then the UL tags. Then have one last comment here. This is my best games. This is my best, not games. Okay, it's a social media site. So that's the use of commenting. And also, let's say you're writing codes. There are certain parts of the code you wouldn't like to delete them. You can simply comment them out and later reuse them in your program. Maybe you need these H1 tags, H2 tags, but you don't need them now. You can comment them out rather than deleting them. You get it? I can comment this out. Maybe I'll use later in my code. So there will be no need to delete it. I can just comment it out. It wouldn't affect my code. So I think that will be all for today's session. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me? Hello. Okay. So if there are no further questions, in our next meeting, we are going to talk about media, how to insert images, videos. If video today, we try the images. I'll using that to explain the links to you. Then our next meeting, we'll talk about images, how to insert videos, how to make a video play on the website, how to add controls like pause, play, and then increase the speed of the video. We'll also add audios, or you can add music to your website and then add controls to it so that user can pause, play, or you can add autoplay functions to them as well. But using the HTML tag. And then we also talk about different HTML elements like the div tag, which we use for dividing the website into sections. Okay, so thank you for joining. And then see you next time.